Be Nice Individuals podcast.
Hey folks, this is Thaddeus on the Be Nice Individuals podcast. I am having this podcast in the Flagler Voice podcast studio, which if you guys have seen the content, you know this is a studio that's for rent, people that want to come in, shout out their businesses, maybe their ideas, maybe they're a political candidate who wants to connect with their constituents. We have call-in features here, make that possible. Special guest here in the studio today. I have Stephen MacCloskey with Fresh Prince of Belle Terre. He's going to be talking to us a little bit about his business, what got him into it. Stephen, it's great to have you in the podcast, brother.
Good to be here.
Tell me about the business. I know you do soft washing, pressure washing. What makes you stand out? What is it? Is part of your ethos, maybe? What is it?
Well, most of the time, the first reaction I get is the people get a kick out of the name.
Okay.
So Fresh Prince of Belle Terre just being a unique name.
Yeah.
That kind of, I don't know, that kind of started really the identity of the business, I feel like. I've always loved the show Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I just have to say it properly. I had to run it through my head the first time.
Yeah.
But our specialty, I think, really is solar panel cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of fell into that. And from there kind of grew the add-on services like soft washing and pressure washing and kind of anything under those categories. But my bread and butter, my favorite thing is solar panel cleaning.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I love that because I'm in solar.
Yeah.
You know, the first company I was at, they basically were telling customers that the rain just kind of clean the panels and low maintenance. But from watching your videos, I understand the certain manufacturer of those panels, whatnot, they might actually require you to get them rinsed maybe once a year or so.
Yeah.
So is that your experience?
Yeah. So I don't make any claims. Like, I don't interpret language of warranties.
Sure.
But I have had customers specifically tell me, I'm calling you because my manufacturer is requiring I maintain these and have them cleaned biannually.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few customers that told me that. What was the question?
So
The first part of it?
well, I was mainly talking to the fact that I've been at two different solar companies.
Right.
The first one, they were kind of telling people that it,
Right.
maintenance free essentially.
Yeah.
But in reality, the manufacturer does have certain requirements, and you got to think as those panels get dirty with the pollen and such like that, the production is going to go down.
Right.
I don't know what the percentages are, and I know it would vary depending on its dirtiness per se, but manufacturer, they have requirements on cleaning. And so therein is your niche.
Right.
So can you speak more to that? Like, what attracted you to that specific thing?
Recurring revenue.
Okay.
Just being real.
Yeah.
I've always had an interest in how do I build up a client base and then keep that client base for years, not just like a one-time transaction.
Yeah.
So that's really what interested me to the solar panel cleaning because of the belief in the backbone of that being recurring or being annual or biannual or even quarterly maintenance.
Yeah.
So that's really what got it started. And then getting on that first roof, like I can remember the first one I did in St. Augustine, kind of didn't really, I knew what I was doing, book knowledge, but I didn't have the experiential knowledge.
Sure.
And getting up there and doing it, I realized it was possible, it was valuable, and it made sense for the customer to do it for the life. I think those things are going to be on the roof for 25, 30, maybe longer years.
Absolutely.
So it would be pretty common sense to clean them. But yeah, you were mentioning your first company, and that's a common pushback, like to tell, or for homeowners to tell me I don't need to clean them because the rain will clean them.
Mm-hmm.
That is just, sadly it's not
hogwash.
It's hogwash. It really is.
Yeah.
It's like if you look at any car, any people's windows, a roof, anything that I pressure wash is exterior. You would think the rain would wash that, but it doesn't. And that's not how it works.
That's a great example. I mean, that's a great analogy, whatnot, of really kind of, I don't know, you might say, you take a car. My car's dirty right now, actually.
Yeah. Oh, mine too.
And it's been raining a lot this week. It's not sparkling.
Right.
I mean, it will get some of the loose stuff off, but you got to think there's stickiness to the dirt or whatever that's just cling there, and it's not good. not good for the panels.
Right.
And being a solar professional, I want customers to have the highest production possible because it's my namesake. I don't want them to be like, well, you promised this amount of production and I never clean my panels, but you promised. And so connecting with someone like you, I mean, we knew each other before you got into cleaning the solar panels, but now I feel like we kind of mesh together. Like it's a complementary relationship.
There we go. It's okay, we can say that.
Yeah. So one of the things too is you have specific insurance for it. When you speak to that?
Yeah. So before I was doing the pressure washing more part-time before I got into the solar side and before I did all my research. And I had a basic, I have an insurance background, so I was kind of aware of certain things. When I bought my policy for the pressure washing company, I wasn't thinking about solar panel cleaning specifically. But what I found out is that they actually exclude that coverage.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so when you buy a policy, there's all these exclusions that are written in the policy for those weirdos and nerds that actually read the full policy. The policy that I bought was like an internet policy, but it's like also a reputable company.
Sure.
And one of the items was solar panel cleaning. And it's because it's a liability.
Sure.
So I had to actually go outside of a standard policy and work with an independent broker, insurance broker, to get it's called excess and surplus lines coverage for specifically for the solar panel cleaning, and then that also covers pressure washing and window cleaning.
Okay. One of the things I'm concerned about is, you said that I've watched your videos. How many pressure washers, how many soft washing companies don't have that insurance? And think about the cost and the value of these systems.
Yeah.
If the company itself that they have their insurance through, if they're not covered, the pressure washing company is on the hook for it.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that situation?
As far as with the homeowner or the business?
Both.
Okay, so as far as a homeowner goes, you can pursue that business. I'm not a legal expert, but you can potentially pursue that business owner, through legal channels. As a business owner, I do not want to be in that position.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on the hook for I don't even know what a system costs. 50 grand maybe more.
Depending on the size.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remove the panels. You have to, your electrical, not only just the equipment, but the labor to deal with those components.
Yeah.
It's a massive thing to just like kind of flippantly go into.
Sure.
And people do it. I'm very confident people do it every day because I'm in the groups. I'm in the Facebook groups. And I have a lot of respect for all these guys out there just trying to make a buck and try to make a living, and I get it.
Sure. But
it's very important to get the right policy and coverage. If you're going to be doing solar panel cleaning, it's not just I can do it. There's equipment, there's insurance that's necessary to do it right.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, because do it wrong, now you're on the hook for 50 grand, maybe if it's
and then ultimately
larger
your
systems.
reputation's on the line.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Reputation, word gets out, you messed up this person's solar system.
Right.
It's no good. And obviously, being in the solar industry, I don't want any pushback now. There's enough objections as it relates to solar. I don't want to be like, oh, now I got to deal with this objection of, oh, well, the pressure washer or soft washer, when they come out, they're going to ruin your system. Like, that has nothing to do with me. And so it's just good to have people like yourself that have that coverage.
Yeah.
So, people that are watching this or will watch this, guys, if you are having somebody come out and wash your solar system, make sure you ask if they have a policy that will actually cover your system if something bad happens. And remind me what the name of that was again? The policy?
Well, it's not a policy type. It's just it's the type where these carriers come from.
Yeah.
The carriers that provide the liability. So it's excess and surplus.
Okay.
It's just like it's a carriers that come from normally out of state that will write extended coverage for unique situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me more about your business. So Fresh Prints, you love Fresh Prints. I love it. And the backwards hat Isn't that Fresh Prince theme kind of? Didn't he
kind
have a backwards hat or something
I
in
mean,
the credits?
He was known for his hats, yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was backwards. I think,
Was
yeah,
it?
actually it was.
Was it backwards?
Yeah, I can see it right now.
Yeah.
Him and Jazzy,
Uh huh.
you know.
Yeah.
Actually, fun fact that I don't know if I should admit this, but that logo, I kind of tried to describe myself
Uh huh.
to chat, or no, it was to Bing Image Generator,
Oh, okay.
and through many iterations, that's kind of what came.
Yeah. So it kind of looks like a really well groomed lumberjack.
Yeah,
Is that kind of what you were told?
that's my spirit.
A well groomed lumberjack. No, look, he's an attractive cartoon guy.
Yeah.
I can see the resemblance though. Yeah, it's totally you. So you do solar panel cleanings. That's a niche or niche. Tell me about some of your other services you do.
So yeah, other services, standard soft wash, pressure washing company.
Mhm.
So from the roof down to the driveway, like to do roof washing, house washes, fences, concrete driveways, sidewalks, pool decks, pool screens, kind of the run of the mill type stuff.
I like that. I mean, I like the fact that you, like me, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the issues I've talked to a number of different political candidates lately. Right. And one of the big issues is there's not a lot of jobs in Palm Coast per se.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that somebody is here and is part of that tax base in Flagler area, and, bringing money back to this area.
Yeah.
And I feel like entrepreneurship is kind of really one of the only ways it's possible because, there's a lot of retirees here. There's a lot of, just kind of food shops. But as far as like straight up industry,
Right.
I think we're kind of lacking.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's good that you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you know about me, but I never, until 2022, I never left I always had a regular job.
Really?
Yeah, I was afraid of entrepreneurship. I was kind of, I don't know if disillusioned is the right word, but I thought it was more grand and more difficult to obtain than
Sure.
it really is. Not saying it's easy by any means, but yeah, I think maybe fear driven a little bit.
Sure.
2022. I think after COVID and that kind of shuffle that happened, at least in my own life, kind of spurred me on. Like kind of realizing like no one's gonna take care of my life except for me,
Mhm.
in my daily decisions.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm a man of faith and I believe and I trust in a higher power.
Yeah.
But like walking in my shoes, no one's gonna provide food on my table. And that's kind of like what started the draw towards entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I feel like with COVID, people were losing their jobs and there was just this general fear
Yeah.
in the air. I forget the statistic, but it was like so many people left their jobs either to
Yeah.
retire or start their own business.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the illusions, so to speak, kind of like what you were talking about, that is this very hard, far out thing as far as entrepreneurship goes.
Mm.
But at a certain point, even if you are working a job, there was somebody that was an entrepreneur who decided to open a job.
That's it.
And there was a lot of risk, and there still is.
Yeah.
In any company, there's still a decent amount of risk. They're one statement or one blunder away from not being in business, and we just don't think of that.
Right.
But, we were just actually talking about one of the solar companies that is going out of business, just filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
They were one of the giants. But entrepreneurship.
It's that knife's edge, like we walk that fine line. Like
Mhm.
all of us really.
Yeah.
But sometimes the knife is sharper.
Sure.
Like these big companies, they have hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of employees.
Mhm.
And like you said, with one decision, whether, kind of making that risk, the entrepreneurial spirit, that could fall either side. We don't really know. Nothing is really as secure as we think it is.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like that's the life that we were born into.
That's faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting, it's adventurous, and yeah, just keep your head up.
It's like a daily thing, though. I like how you gave the analogy, though, of the knife. So to me, I was thinking about, like a brand new entrepreneur that's trying to get a company together.
Mm.
They're on the sharp end of that knife. and then back towards almost the handle of those seasoned companies, and that's really the dull area of that knife.
Yeah.
It was that kind of what you were saying, or were you saying like two different knives?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you want to take that. And now I've heard that statement a lot lately, but I kind of picture it like walking the tightrope, and like if for a knife to be effective, it needs to be sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're walking that edge, using that edge, if you go off center slightly, it becomes ineffective.
Okay.
It's kind of, I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, I love
Either
it.
way you want to take it.
No, I love it. I love these new quotes and these new ideas,
Yeah.
thoughts, profound thoughts like that I've never heard of. I've been around the block, but I'm attracted to philosophies, especially when it comes to like entrepreneurial or business philosophies.
Right.
It's what has become the center of my life. And like you, up until 2022, I think it was as well, I always had a secure job, but nothing's really secure. And I think I don't think we have, but we have definitely a similar way of thinking about it. And it's definitely because we share the common faith. Yeah. And how has faith really been instrumental in your business and your outlook on life?
Man,
that's a loaded question.
It's not. Oh yeah, loaded maybe. It's heavy for me because
sure.
it's so real, right? Like that conversation, that topic, that category of faith is so real.
Yeah.
Like to the point of every breath that I take has a faith impact almost.
Yeah.
Like I could in the matter of 5 minutes, I could have the lowest low of my life or the highest high. Not because of exhilaration or something good that's happening, but because of my level of faith and hope and trust.
That's true.
Like I could go from utter fear and like disappointment when like maybe I lose a contract or lose a bid or lose like a customer chooses to go with someone else. All of a sudden the fear wants to like really like strap you in and tie you down and sink you to the bottom of the depths, right? Or the despair.
Yeah.
But in the same time, if I don't through that breathing and like literally like through breathing practices, learning to take those thoughts captive and apply them through scripture and through the faith and the trust that I have in God as ultimate provider, not as Steve as, provider for my household and literal earning of income, to pay our bills or
sure.
to provide. But so like that's what I mean. It's such an intimate concept, faith, that it's hard to answer in like a short setting,
sure.
because it's everything. Like literally every thought.
It is life.
It's life. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I love that. And people out there who are thinking about entrepreneurship and you're Christian, guess what? Become an entrepreneur and your faith will increase.
100%. 100%.
Like, it's the truth. Like, if you take that scripture from the Bible, which says that birds of the air, they're not worried about tomorrow because God is going to feed them and all that stuff. That's kind of how you have to be as an entrepreneur, especially if you have a service-based industry. You're in that kind of line of work. You're going to have your regular customers, but starting from ground zero and building up, it's going to take faith, and stick to it.
Yeah.
Because if God gives you that vision of what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be and what impact you're supposed to have, just go for it. And I definitely feel like this is essentially what God told you. So do you mind shooting out your contact information, shouting out to everybody, so that people know how to contact you for any type of soft wash, pressure wash, or solar panel cleaning? And again, you have the insurance necessary to protect both the homeowner and yourself when it comes to solar panel cleaning.
Yeah.
So shout out your contact info.
Yeah. So best way is through phone. You can just call us directly, 386-597-3520. Or alternatively, Facebook, Instagram, shoot us a message on there. Everything is linked to the same Fresh Rinse of Belle Terre website, freshrinseofbelleterre.com. Yeah, that's it.
That's super easy to remember.
Yeah.
Folks, again, we had a special guest in studio today. This is Stephen MacCloskey from Fresh Rinse of Belle Terre. Remember, think like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Fresh Rinse of Belle Terre. Again, this is a company, local, that is changing and making an impact for people that have dirty homes, dirty sidewalks, anything like that. You need a whole house wash, Steven's your guy. You need your solar panels clean to keep that production up, Steven's your guy. Again, don't just go with any pressure washing or soft washing company. Make sure they have the insurance necessary so that if something happens, you are covered and they are covered. Because at the end of the day, it matters when something happens. So again, this is Thaddeus. We have been on the Be Nice Individuals podcast, which is hosted here at the Flagler Voice Studio. This is a studio where people can come in and rent. There is everything you would need here as far as equipment goes to have your own podcast, spread your voice, shout out your business, your ideas. Say you're a political candidate and you want to connect with your constituents. We have call-in features to make that possible. We'll see you next time.